Good morning.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty
Getting,
good.
getting any sleep?
Some. I think
Oh,
I'm averaging between 5 and 6 hours a night. So,
oh, that's a lot. You're lucky.
yeah, it's ended up being more like an extra late night with an
Hmm.
interruption in the middle.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, going pretty well. So, let's see. We're obviously not expecting Steven today, but I think we're expecting a few more people to join us.
Yeah, there should be a few more.
Cool. We'll give him a minute to show up here, I guess.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. Okay. Was kind of expecting a few more people, but I think we've got probably enough people to start talking at least. Um, so let's go ahead and get into it. I shared the agenda to the chat. I think pretty much the same suspects in terms of what we're going to be covering today, mostly focusing on PRs and issues, I think. And there's a couple of discussion items, I think, relating to those open PRs. But welcome everyone. Hyperledger call, antitrust policy, all those things are the same as all of our other meetings. With that, let's go ahead and get started looking at open PRs. So Steven's marked a few for us to review here. So 2824 is user agent. Right. Okay. So I just took another look at this one. There was some discussion that was pending on this, in terms of like, is this enough? Do we want to do more? Um, it's a two-line change, pretty much just adding the user agent request header to the linked data document downloader. Um, I think this is probably good enough as it is. There's potential for doing fancier stuff in the future if we wanted to be able to allow Akamai users to customize what user agent is sent. Um, there's also more places where we're making outbound requests, uh, such as in webhooks and message delivery and all that stuff. And it might make sense for the user agent to be set on those outbound requests as well. Um, But I think it's probably best to go ahead and merge this PR and maybe just create an issue to log future discussion on the topic. So I've gone ahead and approved this one. There is an integration test failure relating to like one of the endorser workflows. So I was kind of looking to Jamie to just give a quick sanity check on, is
Yeah,
that
I think I fixed a bunch of those, but this branch hasn't been rebased. So hopefully when they rebase it, it'll pass.
okay?
For some
Don't
reason, some PRs I can't rebase them manually and others I can. I don't exactly know what's going on, but
Yeah, I think it has to do with repo ownership permissions. So this is from like an org that is probably a little bit more restrictive. So
oh,
because they opened it from the org instead of the individual GitHub user, they didn't have the option to say allow maintainers to edit this PR. So I think that's what's going on there. But yeah, um, So what are the chances you think if we reran those integration tests, would they pass on this go around, or should we just go ahead and just merge without it passing?
I'm sure you can merge it without it passing.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now then, I think. Cool. Okay, so that was 2824, addressing 2781. Yeah, I'll create a follow-up issue for that additional discussion, as I mentioned, I think, and expand it out to other requests in other places, not just the document loader. So I'll leave that tab open for me as a reminder to take care of that. Okay, cool. Next one on the list was 2816, which is the did rotate PR that Keith has been working on. I think he's addressed all the feedback that I offered. I haven't gone back to review this again just yet. Anybody on the VCGov side happen to know if there were any other things intended to be done on this PR before we call it good, or is this in a state ready for review?
I think he's on vacation, and I think he said that it's ready for review.
Okay.
Again.
Cool.
He's back, I think maybe tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So if there was feedback, we wouldn't be waiting around for those to be addressed. That's okay. That's handy. Cool. Since I was the most recent one to review, I'll go back and review the changes again. I think it's pretty small stuff, so I think this will probably be merged pretty soon as well. Yeah, so I'll leave that pending for me to take a closer look at. Okay, 2748. I think this is the one I opened. Yep. So did exchange and interop. So just to give a quick review. So there's some incompatibility issues between ACPI and AFJ/Credo. AFJ/Credo is strictly expecting did exchange 1.1 now. I don't think they even accept 1.0, if I remember correctly. Beyond that, the did rotate attach is a strictly 1.1 feature. So even if they did support 1.0, they wouldn't be able to do our did peer 2.4 because that depends on that feature. So I've been doing a lot of investigation on this one. Mostly, I just didn't understand how ACPI was handling different versions of the protocols. So I spent a lot of time piecing things together from what I was gathering from the code and testing some things out. Ended up discovering that the expected behavior is that ACPI should be able to accept accept messages from a protocol with the version of the same major version and potentially a version at or greater than the currently supported. But there's a bug in past versions of ACPI that actually prevents that behavior. So we should, in theory, be able to send and accept a did exchange 1.1 message from like ACPI 0.11.0, for instance. But we get this error, so it actually fails to process the message, which is a bummer because that means that we now, in order to maintain backwards compatibility, strictly have to support sending 1.0 or 1.1, depending on what we get back in requests from the other party. So kind of matching the same respond in kind behavior that we have for did peer 2 and 4. Similar thing for the protocol version itself, which increases complexity, but I think the backwards compatibility is important enough to warrant the added complexity. So that's kind of where this is left off. It needs a little bit more time from me. I've gone and again spent a lot of time investigating things. I did some minor cleanup inside of the version handling, so in the future we don't run into the same issue that we are now, where past versions of ACPI can't accept newer versions of the protocol even if the major version is the same. But now I need to go and actually do the supporting both 1.0 and 1.1 stuff. So still pending some work from me on this. Any questions or comments on this PR?
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Not related to did exchange, but the PR that I've been working on for connection reuse, I've done some updates for how did peer 2 and did peer 4 are handled in invitations. So I don't know if that's going to have any trickle down impact on anything.
Um,
Everything in
I
this, the PR is working now. I'm just doing
yeah.
some additional testing with it. But
Okay.
if you run ACPI with the emit pid, the emit did peer 2 or did peer 4, then it'll put it in the invitation and it'll work with connection reuse. So that's really what the testing has been focused on. So I don't know what
Yep.
other kind of side effects there's going to be.
Um, so the changes so far in the PR that I have open have actually been relatively minimal. I have a bunch of changes locally that I haven't pushed just yet because I was kind of exploring, experimenting, hadn't really landed where it needed to. Um, so in terms of like what's actually changed, like I don't think I've touched anything in the actual did peer 2 or 4 implementation
Right.
itself.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think I've hit anything too deep on the did exchange just yet, but I will as I get into this next set of changes that's going to be required. Um, um,
This one, like I said, it's still marked as draft. I've got other stuff I need to work on today, so I'm probably be marking this one as ready for review later in the week.
okay. It looks like you're mostly out of the did exchange implementation itself as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think we might be able to avoid any potential conflict because I think most of my changes will be localized to the did exchange
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm not really too worried about conflicting code. I'm more worried about whether it's actually going to work.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so I did like a really brief once over of this
Uh,
PR. Would it be helpful if I looked a little closer and offered any feedback, or are you good just
I'm good for
with
now.
okay.
When I mark it for review, I might just book some time and just do a walkthrough with you and Stephen and like whoever else is interested, just because I've got some specific questions as well.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. Good to know. Um, and good to know that I think we're largely going to be able to avoid any major conflicts in terms of changes as well. So that's handy. Okay, I think that was the PRs that Steven had called out. There's also the VCDI cred format handler PR.
Yeah, so
Um,
that one, they're a little bit behind on that one, and
okay,
and they had a bunch of questions overnight. They're all in different time zones, so it's difficult
okay,
to kind of coordinate with them. So I'm gonna go. That's what I'm gonna be working on this morning, is going through this
gotcha.
and just trying to nail down what they need to do and give them a little bit more specific direction.
Okay, cool. Um, to be honest, I've been largely ignoring this PR.
Yeah,
And it seems like there's been plenty of people reviewing and taking a look at it that I don't think anybody's missing out on my opinion on this. Um,
no, I think it's good. I think
cool.
if once it's ready to merge, it might be worth you just taking a quick look through it. But I think for now, it's fine. You can just ignore it.
Okay, sounds good. Now it's been merged. Any other PRs that are worth bringing up? We talked about closing these. I might just go ahead and do that right now before we get off the call and forget about it. Um, uh, Yeah, just to get this cleaned up. Okay, so that's those two PRs taken care of. And then there's a few down at the bottom of the stack here that also just need to go through and be closed. Yeah, most of these are hopelessly out of date anyways. Some of them have been superseded by other ideas. So I think there's nothing particularly of interest in them right now. Okay. Issues. I think I had it open there. So a couple of new issues have come in since we last talked at the ACAPUG meeting last. I think the ACAPUG meeting we addressed these two. I might still end up touching this one. I know it's been assigned to you, Ian, but I think it might be close enough that I might take a look with the did exchange changes that I'm doing for the 1.1 support.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll let you know if I end up hitting that or not. There's been a bit of back and forth commentary on this one. Does anybody have any? Be kind of nice if Emiliano was here to give a summary of these issues, but we don't have them today. Are there any issues that we need to discuss on the call today?
I don't think so, but that was specific to multi-ledger. When you actually configure multi-ledger, it seems like there's a problem with the profile that's getting used.
Okay.
Emiliano is going to look into it, but we've seen this behavior somewhere else too, and I'm never configuring multi-ledgers, so I haven't looked into it specifically, but it seems like that specific use case when you actually configure multiple ledgers, there's an issue, probably like there's an issue with configuring multi-ledgers anyway.
Right. Yeah, the multi-ledger stuff doesn't seem to be super widely used at this point. I get the feeling this one has snuck in a while ago and then just hasn't been caught.
Yeah, it's mostly with Traction, BC Gov. That's where it's mostly used, and that's where it's coming up. But
okay.
Yeah, it's not urgent for when you're not using it.
Okay. Do we have a sense if these are issues that we would want to be resolved by 0.12.0 release or anything like that? Is there an urgency to them, I suppose?
I don't think so, because it's been around, they think, since like 0.7 or something. So it's been a problem that's been there for a long time. So I don't think we have to block a release or anything.
Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Any other issues that we'd like to discuss on the call?
I don't think so. I'm working on the upgrade, those two tickets, and I opened a draft PR for the kind of the setup one, which if I think Ian looked at it, but it's and now I'm working on like the actual upgrade script, but
okay.
I don't want to force this into 12 release, but
okay.
I think it's getting close to being ready.
Okay, cool. And this would kind of fall into the category of changes where support for the anon-creds, ledger agnostic anon-cred stuff is increasing, but still like a experimental / dormant feature in the upcoming release, not necessarily outright fully implemented and supported yet.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Some other topics here. I think these are old. Or rather, we've already kind of talked about all of them. Anything else for the maintainers meeting today?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's about all I've got as well. Cool. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here then, I think. Thank you, everyone. Of course, see you in Discord, see you in comments on GitHub and stuff if you have anything that comes up between now and our next meeting. But thanks for all the work you've been doing, and we'll catch you guys around.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.